The Black Angel in Iowa City is a supposed supernatural 8.5-foot statue that was placed in the Oakland Cemetery in 1913. It was built by Mario Kovel, a Czech-American sculptor that created the Black Angel in 1913. The angel statue is the family Feldovert burial monument, polished bronze, then turned black. It marks the grave of Teresa Feldovert's son, Eddie, and the ashes of her husband, Nicholas Feldovert. This statue was intended to be a protective icon overlooking Eddie, but as soon as it turned black, speculation from all over the community began as to why this was happening and what it meant. This is the story of the Black Angel.
There are many stories surrounding the Black Angel statue and its curses. Many have circulated Iowa City and even the nation for a long time. There are a few that stick out to people, though, like the story Joyce Carol said was the one she has heard most her entire life.
We walked up the steps and waited in the small lounge for the program director at the rec center of Iowa City. We were greeted enthusiastically by the small, big-cheeked, blue-eyed Joyce Carol. She led us into the small upstairs gym, and we all sat down around a rectangular small table near the door. Immediately, her face lit up at the many questions of her obsession, the Black Angel.
The one that is the most intriguing to me, though, is they always talk about, like, if someone were to go there at night and kiss the Black Angel, that they will die, you know?
We wanted another person's view, so we visited the Oakland Cemetery and were able to score an interview with the supervisor of the cemetery, Russ Buffington. He saw us walking up to the office through a window. He stood up and opened the door for us because they keep it locked at all times. Russ was a tall, brown-haired, mid-40s looking man. From looking at the clothes he wore, jeans and a worn sweatshirt, and the roughness of his hands, we could tell he spent a lot of time working outside. He was welcoming and sat us down at his desk. Before we could even say anything, he already knew what we were here for. He mentioned in the past couple of years, more and more students have been doing this project on the Black Angel. He told us a story he has heard the most times in a short 3 years working at the cemetery.
One of my guys has been here for probably 12. We've all touched the Black Angel. Nothing's happened. We've not seen anything. When we trim the grass around the Black Angel, we've all bumped our head on her wing, and nothing bad's happened other than bumping your head. So, yeah, I think...
There obviously are some doubters in this evil, but many people do believe that this statue is haunted and have many stories as to why it is. For example, if a person would touch the angel at midnight on Halloween, this would mean death for them within 7 years. Or any girl that is kissed near her in the moonlight will die within 6 months. There are even stories pertaining to why the angel turned black. One says that the angel turned black after a freak thunderstorm on the night of Teresa's funeral. The angel was evidently struck by lightning, and this is what caused it to turn black. Another says the black color is because of infidelity. Teresa allegedly vowed over her husband's grave that she would remain faithful to him until the day she died. The color of the angel, this story claims, answers the question as to whether or not Teresa remained faithful. Another even goes to say that Teresa murdered her son and that he didn't die from meningitis. This story claims that she fled to Oregon soon after his death, and only her guilt brought her back to Iowa City. In shame, she moved his body to rest beneath the wings of the angel, and soon after, it began to turn black as a reminder of her shame. We actually know that the statue turned black from oxidation, and not from what the stories say. But as for the other stories about the evil the angel brings, who knows what is true and what isn't? I guess if you really want to know, go touch or kiss the angel yourself. You're just putting your own life in danger.
This all started with the Feldovert family, who had immigrated to America from Strimlov, Bohemia, which is now known as Czechoslovakia. When the family consisting of a mother named Teresa and her son Eddie moved to Iowa City, life was hard. Teresa worked as a midwife in Czechoslovakia, but couldn't work in America because she wasn't certified by American schools. Then in 1891, at the age of 18, her son Eddie died from meningitis. After the death of her son, Teresa moved to Eugene, Oregon, and married Nicholas Feldovert, who died shortly after their marriage as well. She then moved back to Iowa City and hired Mario Corbell, a sculptor from Chicago, to create a sculpture to symbolize her sorrow and keep watch over her dead son.
Commissioned Teresa Beldevert. Her life was so sad. I mean, have you read anything about
I
her?
heard
or
that
how-
Just like little.
her son, they moved to Iowa City, and then her son died,
Yeah.
and then she moved to Oregon, and then her husband that she had just married died.
Yeah. When she was in Czechoslovakia, which is where her son Eddie was born, let me make sure I get this right, but she had Eddie and she was married. And her husband was apparently a doctor, and she was too, midwife. And somewhere along the line, the husband, Eddie's father, is kind of like no longer in the picture. You know, she would go to Vienna where he was practicing medicine. Then she would come back to her small village and have her life. Well, somewhere along the line, the husband is out of the picture. We don't know whether he died. We don't know anything. You know, I've never been able to find anything either. And so then she comes to America with Eddie. And part of the poem talks about her slipping away, and like kind of in the middle of the night. Have you seen that? Have you seen the?
No.
Okay, so you'll want to take a look at that. It's a little bit about slipping away in the middle of the night, so it makes it kind of mysterious. She doesn't tell a lot of people goodbye, you know, but she leaves her village and comes to America. Then another sad part of her life is that she can't practice medicine while she's here because she wasn't educated in the American schools or whatever.
Yeah.
So then she has her whole means of support, you know, is like taken away, right?
Yeah.
And then Eddie dies, and he was brilliant, you know. He was studying to be, I think, a pharmacist, if I remember right. And, you know, so he was just a brilliant mind. But then he dies. And so then there's all the stories that someone murdered him. And,
Well, isn't it though that he had meningitis? or
Yeah, he
something?
died from meningitis.
Okay.
But people don't like that because it's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
boring, you know.
The shining golden angel was installed next to her son's grave on November 21st of 1912. It was inscribed with the Bohemian words that can be loosely translated to, "The sun and clouds stood over my journey. They were tough and joyful days in my life. You did my work just to make the world better. You fold your hands and your head goes down. Your spirit flies away where everlasting reward is writing for your hardship." When Teresa received the statue, she was extremely upset. It wasn't what she had pictured or what she had wanted at all. She refused to pay for it and took the artist to court because she was so angry with what she had received. She eventually lost the case, however. Teresa then died of breast cancer on November 18th of 1924, and her ashes were placed beneath the angel by her son's grave. A few years after Teresa's death, the golden bronze statue suddenly turned black. The first to turn were the eyes, and the coal-like color ran down her face as if weeping. Now it is covered by this black, and many attempts to return the statue to its original bronze hue have failed.
As you can tell, the Black Angel is pretty much a huge mystery, full of different stories and different supposed evils. The angel brings national attention to Iowa City and the Oakland Cemetery especially. It not only draws many visitors daily, but many emails and phone calls from all over inquiring about the angel. For community members and Iowa City locals especially, the angel is something they all have in common, and therefore it brings a lot of people together. This story has lived on for over 100 years and will continue to be passed down for many generations. As for guests to our town and college students, it gives us something to think and talk about, and almost like a challenge to see what individuals will be brave enough to touch or kiss the angel. The angel matters in many ways. In the end, though, this story is a great example of how a small town legend can live for many generations and bring all kind of people together.
Ellie, no, don't touch it.